Welcome to the Slice of Time Street Photography Podcast, a podcast where I talk to other street photographers about their routines, their cameras, and their street photography. Today I'm joined by Iris, who will speak later, of course. I wanted to do some admin first because it's also related to Iris, but it's also just like it's happening in my life. But Iris is included in all of those things, so I wanted to mention them now in this episode. So first of all, I want to introduce a bit of Iris. So I noticed she's very people-oriented in her photos, usually black and white photos, or almost always black and white photos. I also suspect she's the first listener to the podcast. I have no data to back that up, but she was the first one to contact me within like a few hours, I think, of publishing the podcast. So I'm sure she's the first listener. She also mentioned, like, she sent me a note with with everything she liked and everything she might want from the podcast. One of the things was more women in street photography and in the podcast, of course. So that's well, it's not fixed today because you're the first woman in the podcast, and it's episode 6. So I should get into that more. And it's something I noticed in her photos as well, that it's more women orientated, but we'll discuss that later. So first, some admin. There's a book being launched about Antwerp. It's not purely street photography, but me and Iris, you're not Irish, you're British. Iris is in it. So it's like a book with 45 photographers, 200 photos in all kinds of styles, all kinds of genres. But Iris and me are in it, and we both only have street photography in it, I think. So it's available online. I'll put the link in the description, obviously. And if you're in Antwerp, you can find it by now, I hope, in most bookshops. Because now it's the start of October. The episode will be somewhere mid-November. So that should be enough time for the books to get to the stores. Should be in the
bookshops, yeah.
Another thing I want to mention is we both met Thilo Jaehning from the first episode this weekend. I did in Antwerp, and then you did yesterday in Rotterdam. So that's a lot of fun to see that there's a bit of community and in the podcast. Also to see that it's more than just an online conversation that really gets into offline. And I'm not sure. Like I did a full photo walk with him. I'm sure you did as well. I'm not.
I did yesterday. Okay. Yesterday, the whole day. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun showing him Rotterdam.
I showed him around Antwerp, but it was. I think he was a bit surprised how early we ended because Antwerp's not that big. But anyway,
and Rotterdam's a lot bigger than Antwerp.
Rotterdam is a lot bigger,
but yeah.
So like, one day for Antwerp is fine. One day for Rotterdam might be
not that much,
just too little. Yeah. But anyway, so you already heard her, Iris. Maybe it's interesting to introduce yourself for a second.
Hello, I'm Iris. I'm a street photographer from Rotterdam. I live in Rotterdam. I'm British originally, and I've been living in Holland a lot longer than I have in England. But my home is Rotterdam, and I would say that I'm probably 80% of the time. No, maybe not actually these days. 70% of the time I'm in Rotterdam, and the rest I try and get to other cities like Amsterdam, Antwerp, and other cities in Holland. But I'm a street photographer from Rotterdam. So I'm from Holland.
Oh, okay. And is it because like you're trying to get out of Rotterdam more, or is it just like it just happens to be that you're more in different cities now?
I started the first year that I got really doing it weekly. I started in Rotterdam, and so obviously at that point I was just always in Rotterdam. But then I kind of, to get inspired, I actually quite like different cities. So sometimes I can get a little bit stuck in Rotterdam. I mean, Rotterdam has got so much to offer. So you'd think, okay, that's, but you can't. I just got stuck, and I just needed new inspiration and new vibe and a new, atmosphere. And I think that a city like Amsterdam has got completely different things to offer than Rotterdam. Rotterdam's quite modern. But it's it's got old parts as well. And Amsterdam's obviously really pretty. Although I don't actually look for the pretty streets. I'm more of the kind of gritty side streets. And but it's just a completely different atmosphere. And for me, travel wise, it's like literally 40 minutes on the train, so it's ideal. There's a really good connection, so I can just go up to Amsterdam for quite easily. And I really, really like the city. I like both cities, by the way, but I mean, they kind of offer me different things. I really do.
Is it like, do you go to like Rotterdam specifically for street photography, or is it like you have to be there for like friends or whatever, and then you just make some time to do some street photos as well, or is it like really focused on today?
I mean both, but no, specifically street photography. There is not a week that goes by that I do not do street photography.
Yeah,
literally, I'm that crazy.
For me, it's starting to ramp up. I have to be careful that I don't do it too much now, because like
kind of addictive. Yeah, kind of addictive. Believe me.
the past week I did 4 days, so that was too much. Well, it's not too much. I still want to go out, but today I'm not going out because I need to do some work as well.
Yes. Real life is calling as well.
Yeah. But yeah, because like you like I have you here because first of all you were the first person to like send me like comments on the podcast, but also because you mentioned like women in street photography, and for me it was like, well, obviously we need to have some women, but I for me it seemed hard to find them, and I'm not sure like how first of all, maybe how did you get into street photography? Because maybe there's something there that is holding women back. I'm not sure if there's too little women in street photography, or we just don't see them as much.
I think there are a lot of women in street photography, but yeah, they are less seen maybe, or let's start personally. I like street, so I like street sports, street art. When I was younger, I was a real skater girl.
Oh, really? Cool.
I loved the skateboarding scene, and I used to hang out at the ramp. I did not skateboard, by the way. That would be really painful to watch. But I really loved being around skaters and the whole that scene of you use what you've got. And that's the same with street art. You use what you've got. I know a lot of it's graffiti, but there are some amazing artists out there on the streets, and they're and I think that's with street photography as well. You basically use what you have. You use what light you get that day. You use what what happens in front of your lens, so you can't plan it. And so I've always loved street, whether it's street sports, street art, street photography, just life on the street. It just has so much to offer. So that's where it started. And also, I mean, I love photography since as long as I can remember. I think I was 9 years old when I got my first camera. So I've always loved taking photos. So those two, it's almost, it's a match made in heaven for me. It's a real kind of, I mean, I love it. I really, really love it, as you know. But I just think the streets have got so much to offer. And as a woman, I don't know if, I mean, I think there are women out there. I just think maybe they're not seen as much. I don't know. I mean, I do meet up with a lot more men than I do women, and the women I meet up with are, I mean, I am particularly passionate to say the least. I mean, I really do love this. Do you know what I mean? I mean, like really. I mean, it's quite, but I mean, I think there are different sorts of street photographers anyway. There are street photographers that can only get out. They can't get out very often. If you've got young families, I mean, I'm lucky. I'm in a situation where I can go out every week, unless I've got, other stuff going on. But yeah, I mean, I do know women street photographers, but it is true. I do know a lot more male street photographers. Yeah. That's true, but I don't know why. I don't know why, because I'm sure there are a lot of us out there. I'm not the only crazy girl out there, surely.
No, yeah, I'm sure. Like I have a list of people that I still have to contact them, of women that are, I think, great photographers. But I have had to stumble by coincidence on them. Like also like you, I think I started following you earlier this year when I was researching my trip to Rotterdam, I
Yeah.
think. And that's how I stumbled upon you. But I'm sure if I go through my following list on Instagram, it's mostly guys indeed. Like, and it's not that I'm particularly biased. I hope, not consciously anyway. But it's like, yeah, it's funny, but it's also maybe because street is to a lot of people is scary, and maybe like being out on the streets, like I've heard from a lot of women, is without a camera even can be a scary place sometimes. So maybe there's something about that. So how do you experience being out on, like, do you notice for yourself it's different as a woman to your male peers?
Yes, there are certainly places I wouldn't go on my own with my camera or without my camera. I mean, there are.
But would you if you were a male?
It's a difficult question to ask, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah.
Answer. I mean, it's. I don't know.
You can
I think you are as a. It depends also how. I mean, I am so involved. You know, I'm so kind of focused on my street photography when I'm out with my camera. But that, funnily enough, I don't think about actually. You know, I don't feel vulnerable at all. Whereas if I'm not
great,
with my camera, I can actually feel quite vulnerable. I mean, I don't go out at night.
And like, is it at the same place?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's really funny,
cool,
isn't it? I haven't actually ever thought about that, but because. I mean, you have to understand. As soon as I take my lens cap off, I'm not in this world anymore. I'm in my world. So I'm observing. I'm seeing. I'm looking. I'm totally focused on what I'm doing. I don't have a clue what's going on around me. Yet I see everything, which is really crazy. This sounds really crazy. I know, but you know,
but it sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. So as soon as that lens cap's off, I'm totally not at all. I mean, someone could be standing behind me and I wouldn't know. And in fact, I have sometimes been sent photos. I do look really odd. And I'm sort of crawling across the street with my camera. I mean, I don't care. If I get the shot, that's all that's important to me. I do not care how I look. And believe me, I've looked really weird.
And it's like, it's people that just that know you, that pass by, that's like,
they follow me or something and they suddenly see me. Like recently I was, oh goodness, it was a terrible position. I was thinking, oh my god, so many people saw me like that, but I didn't care. I just wanted that shot. So in a sense, I'm totally not aware. I mean, I guess as soon as I start making eye contact, I mean, I don't make eye contact either. You see, I don't want people to look at me. I don't want to be noticed. I mean, they are obviously, but I don't want to be noticed. I don't want the eye contact. My photos are very much about getting someone without being seen, because as soon as someone sees you taking a photo, the magic's gone. Their body language changes. Their facial language changes. They're you know, they're a different person. So my photo is I've missed it. I've missed the shot. So basically, I don't want to be seen when I'm taking the shot. And then afterwards, sometimes people think, oh, I'll hear people say, oh, did she just take a photo? Do you know what I mean? But it's so I guess I probably feel quite safe with my camera for some unknown reason. It's really odd because I've never thought about it, but I do actually feel quite safe with that thing in front of my face.
I want to get into it but like first I want to I'll go into it later, but I want to discuss the you approaching people and because I know you get close by, but that you do it like without getting seen. But first I want to get into the thing like you mentioned earlier, like you being yes, sometimes I stumble on my words.
No, your English is excellent.
like seeing the photos of yourself being in like these funny positions and being like, so many people saw me. It's funny because for me it's I have the same, but with the camera I totally understand. Like I mind less. Like I can be on the floor sitting and totally look like a homeless person or whatever. But it's like, yeah, sure. Like I'm getting the shot, and it's funny that you do as well. So it's.
You wouldn't lie without your camera. You would not lie in the middle of town, in the middle of the street, would you? You'd never lay on the street.
No,
I
true.
have done that. I've done
Yeah,
that.
but the funny thing is, like now that I'm getting more and more into it as well, is like people barely notice anyway.
Oh no,
Like,
but oh no, of course not. Everyone's busy with their own things. Nobody
yeah,
gives a. I was going to swear then. I promised not to
no,
swear.
that's fine. That's fine.
But no one gives a beep what you're doing. Honestly,
Yeah,
they're all too busy with their own lives. They're all too busy with their own lives.
yeah,
Believe
exactly.
me.
It's I think, and for me, I've been shy a lot for photos, but now I'm learning exactly that it's like people don't
No,
care, people barely notice.
no.
People are even like the past week, I had 2 times people come up to me and are like, "Ah, you're a photographer. I'm actually looking for a photographer. Could
Oh
you?"
wow,
Yes,
cool.
so it's in a way it's like it even helps to get out on the streets. That's funny that you mentioned it because to me it's been something that I've been learning as well. So I want to get into this you approaching people, because I know you shoot on a, what was it, 21 millimeter or no,
23 millimeter.
23
23
millimeter,
millimeter.
but
That's
it's
right.
full frame or crop sensor.
Yeah. So it's a prime lens. So I have to get physically close. So
Mhm.
and so I'm sort of doing my hand action
Yeah.
here. Just showing you how I do that. It's the thing with this lens is because I used to use a zoom lens, and I
Mhm.
used to be able to zoom in on people, but I found the photos quite slightly emotionless. Me actually having to physically get close to someone makes the photo more exciting for me.
Mhm.
So it's very much because this is all I'm doing this all for me. Okay,
Yeah.
this is all my passion and my craziness. But what makes a photo good for me is that I having to physically get close to someone,
Mhm.
the photo suddenly not only gets better, I think, but also just a little bit more. There's a bit more edge to it, and also I know that it took more guts to make, so therefore the photo is better for me.
Mhm.
I quite like it's getting that kick. It's getting that kind of how close can you get, how I don't want, by the way, I mean, I do respect everyone's personal space. I respect I respect that if people don't want their photo taken, all that sort of stuff, but it's that in my, because it's not something that came really really naturally to me. I mean,
Mhm.
I think we talked about it before. It took me about 6 months to learn to get each step to get closer. You can't do it overnight. I mean, all these things of getting better and closer, it takes time and practice and practice and practice and practice.
Yeah.
You've just got to go out and go out and go out, and sometimes you get no shots, sometimes you get some shots, but yeah, with the 23 millimeter I just literally have to get closer, or I've got a wide angle if I want that as well, which is quite
Yeah.
nice.
And was it like the 6 months you took to get there? Was it like a conscious process, or was it just like, I'm gonna go out and get as close as possible every time again and again, or was it like, today I'm gonna try to get more or less this close to people, or was there like and
It was
what triggered it as well?
wanting to get better is
Hmm.
probably what triggered. Also, it was a conscious process. So I was very much, like I said, it did not come naturally. It's not something. I think people that don't know about street photography don't realize. I think some people can make it look really easy, but it's not really easy unless you can naturally do that without. I mean, that would be great. Just imagine if you could naturally go up and talk to. I can't. It's not in my character. Like I said, I don't want to enter someone's personal space. Yeah, I really want a close photo, so it's a bit of a contradiction. But it was I purposely, rather than, it wasn't about the result at that point. It was about me getting to where I want to be. So
Yeah, the
that's
result was getting close. It was not,
yeah,
it
there
was
was
the
every
photo. Yeah.
time. So every time I got closer and I got a good result, and I got closer and I got a good result, it was a real yes for me. It was a real kind of kick, and it fed me. I mean, I don't know about you, but the high of a good shot is ridiculously short. I mean, ridiculously short. You're kind of like, yeah, I want another one. Do you know what I mean? It's stupid. I don't quite know why we do this, but anyway,
It's
but
like
it's
eating chips. Like
yeah,
one
just
chip
one
is
more.
great, but
Give
it's
me
gone immediately, so you need a second one. Yeah.
yeah. So but yeah, no, so I thought that was more important to get to learn. I mean, you got to learn how, because you know, you're a photographer, you probably know more about cameras than I do. So I had to learn to get to know my camera. I got the Fujifilm in January, which I love, the X-T3 and a prime lens. And I got, it was a new camera. I use one camera and one lens. I don't change. So I had to get to know the camera, and I wanted to get physically closer and more edgy photos. I don't know. I just didn't want that, because you kind of, otherwise you stay in the same place the whole time, and I just want to keep moving.
Okay, so you never wait for people to pass you by, really actively walk around and
I am more of a hunter, but I do go fishing sometimes. If I'm knackered, like you have, you've been out 4 days in a row, you know what it's like. You're practically crawling, but you want to go out because the light's good. Then I will fish. So I'll go to a place, and then I don't have to walk that much. And then I take completely different photos. So, but I haven't got much patience.
Same. I'm training my patience, because I'm starting to learn that it pays off. But
yes,
it's not easy. And for me, patience is still like I can be in a spot for 10 or 15 minutes. But that's about it. Yeah.
Thilo's got more patience, hasn't he?
He's got so much patience. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's also he's very fun, because I'm not sure, I want to get into that as well with you, but I saw him actually, he made a photo, which is great. I'm sure he'll post it by the time it's published here. But it was a great photo in Antwerp, and he actually went to the guy immediately to show the picture, and they were he really makes contact as well with the people, even though the guy isn't recognizable in the photo, because it's a silhouette. But they were so happy. It was funny. So I'm not sure. Do you actually make contact with the people, engage with them, or is it only if they talk to you?
I have done. I do. Yes, but not as much as he does, and certainly not all the time. I haven't, because I'm more of a hunter, so I'm more of I keep moving, and
there's so much people you would have to talk to. Yeah,
I wouldn't get any photos in.
Yeah.
And also, I don't look at my photos until I get home.
Okay.
I don't do that looking back thing. Because I just haven't got time, because there's, I don't want to miss another moment. So I'm one of those people that look at my photos. But sometimes I see a person and I take a photo, and then I do go up to them and say, I have done it. And it's always, I've had some amazing conversations on the street. It's absolutely amazing what's out there. There are scenes out there you just couldn't even, imagine, kind of thing. But also conversations. I've had some amazing conversations with people who've almost told me their whole life stories and stuff. It's kind of it's great. It's great. But I don't know, not as much, because actually, like I said before, I don't actually make even eye contact a lot of the time. I'm kind of I just walk on. And then go for the next shot and walk on. So I would like to do it more. And like you said about practicing your patience, I think I'm going to start getting a little bit more patient. But it's just depends on the day. It depends on the mood.
Yeah. For me, what's working as a tip maybe is have someone with you, like Thilo, for example, who is more patient, and or go with a group, and you have to wait for each other, and then all of a sudden you start seeing these things you wouldn't have noticed otherwise. So you're still kind of hunting, but it's on the same. That for me is working at these moments. But I mean, that's of course cool. Personal. But
no, meeting other street photographers is a great way to learn and just get inspired. I totally agree with that. It can also be really fun. It makes it even more fun, and then you just don't get any shots. And this whole social, I think the social thing is really important. To be honest, I because with my friends that aren't photographers, and friends and family and stuff, other street photographers, they get it. They get how you feel. So it's nice to share that feeling. And also I've made some really good friends who've been really helpful and really Yeah, I mean, they've really helped me actually quite a lot, which is really nice. And so I actually quite like the social side of it as well. I mean, obviously not every week or every day, but
No,
you
yeah.
know, there are certain. I think it's a really nice community. I really do. And what you're doing as well, the podcast. You know, I mean, I obviously, like you said, I met Thilo through the podcast, and I love the way that the podcast has been up until now about the passion for street photography rather, you know, than the technical or whatever side of it. I mean, it's something, you know, if you're passionate about it, it's yeah, it's just really cool.
Yeah, because you mentioned like you don't really know much about your camera, or not your like cameras in specific. Is it
Yeah.
because like it's like you don't care about the technical part? It's more, it's just
No.
a tool. It's like if you, yeah, okay.
Yes.
So like,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. Yeah, I just was curious because like I know you like, so you got your new camera this year. Did you have like a different camera before, or was it like just
Yeah,
an
so I
extension of
started off with a Canon, and that had an 18 to 200 millimeter lens. Then I got a Nikon, which was just, I actually, that was a kind of one of those little spontaneous buys, but that was a compact camera, but it did have
like the Coolpix ones? No, yeah, the Coolpix, or I'm not sure what the Nikon.
I can't remember what it's called now. Had a 16 to 50 millimeter lens. I remember that. It's got a name, ZF something or other. It's one of those like looks like a retro camera.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
You know, one of those
yeah.
little, and I liked it, but it wasn't the real deal in the sense that I wanted a smaller camera. And then actually I was talking to a friend and talking about Fujifilm, and I wanted a Fujifilm, but I thought that, you know, I just didn't have the budget. And then I actually ended up getting an XT3 second hand, and then I bought a new lens for it. And I am slightly, this is really weird, but I like the way a camera feels. I like having a sexy camera in my hand. Oh God, I can't remember just
I think I'm not sure who mentioned it in the podcast as well, but it's like you have to have a good like, or you have to buy a camera that you want to use. So if it's like an ugly camera, I mean, for me, well, the Nikons, I don't think they're too pretty, but sometimes I feel like sometimes it inspires me to put like the right lens on it, and it looks like this is what a camera has to look like for me.
Yeah.
And then it works better as well. So I totally get it.
Yeah, it just gives you that extra feeling of, because you know, I mean, I've had loads of discussions about cameras and even the iPhones that take loads of great photos. But for me, it's this kind of, I don't know, it is a tool. So I do find it important, by the way. I'm not like, oh, and no, I do know, of course, yeah, but I just don't. I think that I could probably, if I get to know a camera, you know, I mean, when I had my Canon, I didn't really know any other cameras, so I didn't know if it was great or not. All I wanted was to go out and take my photos. Do you know what I mean? So it was like the tool. I didn't want to do it with my telephone because that it just doesn't give me any feeling at all. So yeah, for me, a camera is important, and I obviously want to get to know it. So I am getting to know, but differently than say if you were going to do a course, or like you know so much about cameras, and most people do. Whereas for me, it's just I look through my lens, I change, I turn the buttons, I do things, and I think, oh, that looks good, and I don't think about it for the rest. I just keep looking. It's very much instinctively and very much how it feels. But I look, and what I see, because it's not like I do all this raw and then edit it all in Lightroom. It's very much what I see. I do shoot in color, by the way, but I do sometimes shoot in black and white as well. So it just depends. But the reason for Fuji was more just also the way it looked, and also I do like the photos. I really like the photos it takes.
Yeah, it does look. It's a cool looking camera. Yeah, for
sure.
Like I see like your it's like a pin post on your profile where you're holding it. It's like it looks like a camera. That's what a camera should look like. Yeah. So
I'm slightly embarrassed that that's so important, but it's the truth.
No, but it's I'm not sure. Like I'm not sure if it was a podcast on I guess on a podcast or some YouTuber that I saw, but it was like it's the same. Like it's more fun to drive if your car looks good, and it's like if you have like good leather seats or a nice dashboard or whatever. So it totally makes sense.
Okay, good. I don't want to sound silly.
Yeah, it's like if you think about it, it shouldn't be like that. But at the same time, yeah, we're all
It is,
human and
isn't it?
we're
It is.
into
Yeah,
design and
pretty
everything. So
things.
that's
Yeah, yeah,
totally fine.
definitely.
So I think that's great. It's also like for me, like the Leica cameras, they look real. It's like if so, like I know it's just like an expensive camera and it's not necessarily better than another camera, but if someone has them, it's like they look more like a real
Yeah,
photographer.
they're the real legends, aren't they? They're real
Yeah,
legends.
like
But
you
like,
must be great, but
yeah,
it's
and obviously they've got beautiful design. Yeah, that's kind of
yeah,
like the Rolls Royce of cameras, isn't it?
yeah,
But,
true. Uh, but it's yeah, that's just a side note. So for me, like you mentioned editing here for a second. So you don't shoot raw, you mentioned, or
raw, I do shoot raw and
oh,
JPEG,
okay,
but
yeah,
I
okay,
I I usually use the JPEGs
like
unless I'm
I
going to
am.
be, I save the raws, but to be honest, I use the JPEGs most of the time.
Okay, so why do you still shoot the raws?
Um, because I think you never know if you might want to blow them up one day really big or
True.
something,
Okay.
and I'd have to re-edit them, wouldn't I? But I don't know. I guess I was talking to Thilo about this yesterday. It's a bit of a safety net, isn't it? It's like having this. It's like having okay. You've got your safety net.
Yeah.
You've got the raw, so that if something goes wrong, you've got your raw. And I think since having like doing photos for the book and for commission stuff, it's good to have that.
Mhm.
When I'm just doing it for myself, to be honest, JPEG is fine.
Yeah.
And actually a lot of people want the JPEGs because they're smaller, and I personally, you don't always see the difference, especially not in my photography, especially not in the street. I don't
Also, if
think
you just post them on Instagram only, then like
that doesn't really matter, does it?
no
'Cause
one will see.
they,
Yeah. So
they basically ruin all your photos.
yeah. So yeah, but I was curious because you mentioned like yeah, you don't really so you don't do any editing at all anymore, or is it like some slides, tweaks here and
Oh
there?
no, a lot of it's tweaks, and then it's in camera. I do edit. I mean, I'd be completely lying if I didn't, but not as in I would obviously making the black and white is an edit. Yeah, so tweaking it up, maybe not so much the contrast, but there is a little bit of contrast and
Yeah.
stuff, but I mean I do edit. I would adapt, but not like massively. Not I don't get a raw and then edit it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually see what I'm taking, so I just turn my little buttons on my camera and the
Yeah.
dials. They've got names, I know.
Yeah.
I've
But that's
got
fine. This is not a technical podcast, so
no good. My dials and then my ISO and everything, and I get it all. But then I can see what I'm taking a photo of, and that's and usually it stays about the same as that.
yeah.
And then sometimes I will edit, but I think if I over edit one of my photos, it doesn't look like my photo. It's
No,
really
that's yeah.
odd.
That's like for me, it's like I love editing, so I also do it at I'm not that I do crazy edits, but like I enjoy the process of like putting the photos on my computer, seeing them big, and then like
Yeah, yeah,
selecting and editing. But it
yeah.
feels like you just want to dump your photos at home and go out again, like
Again,
almost. Yeah. Okay.
I love being out there. I mean, obviously, let's be honest, especially if I see a photo and I just think yes, then I'll really put a lot of attention into that photo.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, you're right. You're right. It's being actually it's being out there doing it that's the best part. And then I mean, I actually do. I am getting more and more into editing, and I can see the difference, definitely, because we've got the tools, so why not? I mean, I'm definitely not against it. I mean, everyone should do exactly what they want to do, but yeah, I am much more about being out there and getting the photos and getting better for myself. Once again, that's for no one else than myself, and it's just so much fun. I mean, I think that's the most important thing. It's not always about the result for me, although I do want it. I want the shot, but it is not always just about the results. And I know that a lot of people plan their photos maybe more, or they they're thinking about it before they take the photo. With me, it's different. It's very instinctively, it's very fast, and it's very it's just how I feel. So it's a feeling. I'll see someone walking towards me. I'll see someone, and all right, I want to catch them. How do I want to catch them? I want to catch them there. Okay, so if they're there, okay, that click. I mean, literally, and then it's move on to the next one. So it's seeing someone, seeing a place I want them in, and that's usually kind of, that can be a doorway, that can be recently with what's it called in English? In the window, the dolls in the window. Oh, they've got a print. And mannequins, and I wanted a connection with the mannequins. I wanted people to connect with the mannequins in some kind of way. So that's when I was fishing, and I saw the mannequins, and I thought, okay, I want that, I want these people doing that, and then it's just a question of waiting to get that, and hopefully getting it and getting it timed right and stuff. So I like doing that as well. But even my hunting photos are literally seconds before they're happening. They're in my head. I mean, I can't explain it, but I see. A friend of mine, Natasha, said recently, she said you instinctively know where to stand for some reason, and I can see almost what's going to happen just before it happens. It doesn't always mean I get the shot. It definitely doesn't always mean I get the shot, but I can it kind of it's really odd how that works.
No, but I don't have it in the street as much, but I'm an event photographer as a job as well, and I know what you're talking about, because a lot of things are people do repeating actions. So it's like you after a while you notice, and maybe it's subconsciously, but I know as well, like, okay, those people are gonna exchange cards or whatever, and it's like you after a while you get this rhythm in it, and it's I understand what you're trying to say. Yeah, after a while you just get the feeling for what's happening.
You do, don't you? It's odd, isn't it?
And then now that we know that it's subconsciously, well, first you notice it subconsciously, you're able to get the photos, and then you start making sense of it, because it's like just people repeat everything all the time. That's fun.
About that. That's cool.
Yeah. So, but it's very often like this. Yeah.
It's definitely people. I'm definitely a person photographer. I'm not landscape or buildings or it's people. 100%. I love taking photos of people, basically.
And do you specifically go to very busy spots, or is it more like, well, obviously you're not going to empty squares because there's no people there.
No,
I mean, do you go to the big shopping streets, or do you more go to the secondary streets to those shopping streets? Or
sometimes I do go to the secondary streets. I go to the back streets. I go in Amsterdam. I quite like those quite touristy streets that they're actually really dirty as well. They're really disgusting. I mean, honestly, if you go on a Monday morning, it's just revolting there. But this kind of combination of the revoltingness and then these tourists, especially the British tourists. I won't say too much, but it's I'll be careful. It's great. It's absolutely just or just tourists in these really dirty streets, or a laundrette in a really dirty street, or like someone eating at a kind of restaurant, or if you want to call it a restaurant, like a snack bar kind of thing, and they're eating, and you're just thinking, I can't believe you're eating there, because I don't know what that kitchen looks like, but I can't imagine it looks good. But it's just this, I love contrasts. So I mean, I would love to have people dressed really, really, really smart and everything, and then be in quite a sort of a little side street or something. It's the kind of contrast thing I like as well, because I don't like the pretty streets. Or well, it's not that I don't like them, but they just don't make me, because I'm very inspired by that late 80s, beginning of the 90s New York street scene, bucket hats, gold chains, ghetto blasters, when a lot more life was happening on the street. People were breakdancing, the breakdancing, that kind of stuff. Maybe it's a little bit of nostalgia, isn't it, in my behalf, because obviously I'm at an age where I was older. But I think it's like nostalgia. That's probably the black and white thing as well. There's this kind of nostalgic thing about it that I really like. So I like this, I like a certain scene. I think that my photos will be a lot more interesting in 20 years' time, to be honest, because then they'll be the scene of now. Do you know what I mean? I think I will look forward to if people see my photos in 20 years, there'll be a lot more, because it's it's how people look on the streets now.
So if anyone is hearing this in what year
in
will it
20
be?
years.
2044, please contact Iris to yeah.
And let me know what you think of the photos. That would be quite funny, wouldn't it? Oh my god.
That would be
Let's not think
amazing.
about that. I'd be really old then, grandmother.
That would be like that would be a very random email to get like, hey, we listened to your episode of the Street Photography podcast back in 2024. Could you
Please do it. Please
Yeah.
do it. If anyone does, oh please.
If this happens, it will. Yeah,
That
please
would be
do.
so cool.
Put me in CC, please.
Yes, I will contact you first.
Yeah. Forward. Yeah. So yeah. One thing that I noticed, like obviously it's so maybe first the black and white before I continue to this question, like it was like a conscious choice at some point, or was it like first like subconsciously that you feel like, okay, I'm leaning to always doing my photos in black and white, so I'm just going to continue doing that? Or is there like a process to it that you...
Yeah, basically I used to do color mainly, and then I got into a bit of a random stage where I didn't have a niche, which I think we all get into.
Yeah.
We all have to kind of, I'm not sure if I've got a complete niche at the moment, but I went through a real kind of random I've got no niche stage and being really quite proud of not having a niche, and then suddenly I was, as soon as I flipped my photos, I was making them black and white. I was thinking, oh, they actually look a lot better like that. Oh, they look a lot better. And then it's almost got to stage now, if I see a color photo, and there is one color photo in the book, which it would have been criminal to make that black and white, because it does look better in color. But even so, it's a bit like, oh, that's my photo. So it's become something that I'm really used to seeing, and I prefer to see. So I think I will probably 99% do black and white from now on, although like I said, this one photo it would have just been criminal to change it to black and white because it looked so good in color. So I'm not going to say I'm never doing color.
No, yeah, it's not that you're very like strict in...
No, but it's my heart beats faster when I see a photo of mine in black and white. Not all. I do like color photos, by the way, but when I see my photos and I think, yes, it's a black and white one. So,
I understand. Yeah.
And if I'm taking photos of portraits, because I prefer to do black and white. It's that edginess as well. I mean, like, what inspires me? It's music and it's the street. So, like I said, the street scene in general, all things on street, but also music. So those two things, I wouldn't say I'm rock and roll, because I'm not, but my father was, and I was brought up, I was spoon-fed with music. I was brought up in a very bohemian creative life. It was about living, basically. I was brought up very much with music, and my dad was in a band or in various bands, and he was either writing or he was playing. He was so music is a massive inspiration to me, massive. I mean, I don't go on the streets without music. I think I love it. And so if I wasn't doing street, I would probably want to do stuff with bands and stuff. I quite like being around the music scene, maybe because my father isn't alive anymore and I kind of miss that. And I would, I think because a lot of my stuff is more personal than people know, but I think I miss by missing him, I kind of want to. So that black and white also for me is slightly that edge. Yeah, I just don't know. It suits me. Do you know what I mean? It suits me as a complete person. I'm not. Yeah. I'm kind of. Yeah. I haven't been brought up like a lot of other people. I've been brought up quite differently, in the sense that I wasn't brought up with like, oh, you've got to do this and you've got to do that. I was able to do what I wanted to do as long as I was happy. And I was respectful to others, and I treat people how I want to be treated. Then there was no kind of like, we expect this from you kind of thing.
No, yeah.
And so, so I really feel lucky to have had that. And it's also part of, I think it shows in my photos, and it's people. I mean, definitely, I think we are really, really nice. There is a lot of nice people out there. That's what I wanted to say. Sometimes the world just seems such an evil place and a kind of horrible and when I'm out on the streets meeting real people, and whether it's other photographers or whether it's people I take photos of, or there are a lot of really, really cool, generally nice people out there. So I think, yeah, all that inspires me. I know it sounds a bit weird. I really hope it makes some kind of sense, but it is what inspires me. Rather than opening photo books and looking at other photographers and going, oh yeah, I want to be like that. I want to be like that. I don't have that. I need to be. I mean, conversations, like we've had conversations, and I've had conversations with other street photographers. I've walked away from them thinking, oh yeah, or or I might try that. Even with Thilo, who's got complete opposite to the way I shoot.
I was actually just thinking about it, like because you mentioned the personal thing. It's like for me, it's like I think every photo is always personal because it's what you saw and what attracted your eye. So it will be different for both of us. And I was just thinking about it because I like Thilo is very mindful of every detail in his photo because he likes really how do you call it, like minimalistic shots. And it was like very, like he explained to me, like, oh, I'm so happy how I got that line into that corner. And then, of course, if you look at your shots, not that they're messy, but it's
they are messy.
It's more there's more elements. It's not as minimalistic. It's more.
They are messy. They are messy.
Also in the face, or like not in the face, but like more close to the people. Where for Thilo, it's like the person is more like a character into a big scene. So it's like exactly. I'm sad actually I wasn't there yesterday because I'm sure it was a funny dynamic.
I wish you could have been. It would have been so much fun. But it's also because because we were talking about that yesterday, because he is so clean. I mean, tap off to how clean he is. How clean he made Rotterdam look as well. I loved watching him shoot, by the way, because it's just so different to me. But yeah, and I sort of said, oh God, I'm a complete chaotic mess in my head. But yeah, it's really funny because I am this chaotic mess, but yet I'm still very much, it's I don't know. I don't want to sort of, no, but that cleanness and what he's got and those lines and this, no, I mean, if I do leading lines, they're very instinctively, they haven't been thought out. I think I just see that and think, oh, that looks easy on the eye. And that's a split-second decision. That is not a decision I thought out. I mean, he will be in an area and think, oh, I'll see that, and if I do that, and if I look at that, and if you walk on that, and if someone's, and I would have taken the photo and been on the next spot. But I love the difference. I love learning about how other people do
exactly,
it as
yeah,
well.
same.
It's knowledge is important anyway, and this kind of knowledge rather than, and obviously knowledge about photography, but this kind of knowledge is really, I love it. It was like opposites with my messiness. You could see him sort of go, oh yeah, it's really messy. I was like, great.
I remember at one specific time I was somewhere waiting for once. I was patient, and I was like telling him, like, oh, I'm hoping for someone to come to me so I have their face in the image. And he was like, you're a funny man. Because he'd never have like if you go to his photos, like no one's ever recognizable. So it's like, that's funny that you want that instead of people walking away. So that's such a fun thing about street photography. Like, it's this niche. It's like everyone agrees that you have to do it on the streets, obviously, but then it's free play,
for
like
all. Free for all.
You wanna
no rules.
You want to do it in color? That's fine. You want to do it in black white? That's fine. You want to use a 200 millimeter? That's fine. So that's also why I started this podcast, because it's like there's you and Thilo, for example, are complete opposites. Exactly. Like I think I'm more leaning into your style or approach. But like there's no right or wrong in it, and it's fun to learn from the people who are completely different, because sometimes you, like for me, for example, it's to be more patient, maybe be more mindful of my leading lines, like you said, but for me it's as well, like it's more instinctive. So that's what I find so fun about it. That's why I think it's so great that you're sharing how you shoot and how it's like personal, like how you mentioned, like it's more personal than people might expect, but it's
it is. It's very. I mean, the projects I do outside of Instagram are even more personal. But this is all personal. I mean, it's me. It's 100% me. So, I can't ever, I've got no control what someone thinks about my photos, whether they like them or not. I've got no control as long as I like them. It's 100% Iris in those photos. I'm not, we were talking about trends. I said, are there trends? I don't think about trends. I don't think about that kind of stuff, because this is just me looking through my lens at a city, and whether it's Rotterdam or Amsterdam or Antwerp, it's me trying to find little stories. I would like to think that every photo is a little story, and someone can decide what that story is for themselves. I don't need to explain my photos. I hope that someone sees them and thinks, so people do tell me sometimes, I see this and that and this. I say, oh, really? I didn't see that. But it's, if it triggers an emotion, if it tells a little story, then it's a win. And if I like it, then that's great. That's the point. I can't. It's me. It's totally me. So actually, it is very personal. So you do feel quite vulnerable sometimes. When I did an exhibition, I was standing, 32 photos, and I was standing there, and I felt very much at home with those 32 photos, and I was, I've still got them, and I'm still very proud of them, and I still love them. But it was like, oh God, what people are going to say? Oh, well, it doesn't really matter, because I feel at home in my photos.
Yeah.
And that's
they're hanging there, so it doesn't matter, because at least someone thought that it was worth the room for.
Yeah, and it's the same with Instagram. Every photo I post, I like. So, and I mean, I know there's lots of opinions about Instagram. It's blah blah blah. I use it very much to connect with other people. I've met you on there. Through you, I listen to your podcast, which I do really honestly. Not because I'm on it now, but I do like it because it's about people's passion rather than about the technical side of it or the money side of it. It's about people's passion, and I think that's nice. It's like being in the room and listening to a conversation. I love it. I really enjoyed all of them, but and that's what Instagram's like for me. You can meet up with people all over the world, whether it's in America or Canada or Europe or the UK, which isn't Europe. Sorry.
Well, it's in the continent of Europe, but it's not really.
I'm not European anymore.
We can't go there anymore.
But it's great. It's absolutely great. It's like it's like being surrounded by like-minded people who want to nerd out about photography occasionally. I mean, and if people are enjoying our photos, I mean, I enjoy seeing other people's work, obviously, and. But it's so that's what Instagram for me is very much for that, and and I get to share my work, and people can think what they want to think, and yes, I know there's lots of pros and cons to it, but it's a good place to meet up with people, and like I said, I wouldn't have met with you and the book, and all sorts of things wouldn't have happened. So it's cool. It's cool.
So, but you mentioned very quickly other projects outside of Instagram, but. Well, I'm not sure if you want to discuss those projects, but for me, it was so you kind of see Instagram as a specific project of yourself. It's not like that you just post there for a certain style or for whatever you want, or is it how do you approach it? Is there a certain?
Instagram is 100% street. So it's apps. It's what I mean, and street for me is like what for someone else would be maybe meditating, yoga, all sorts of that. Street for
also,
me,
short intervention. Iris's Instagram name is Iris.straatfoto, which is Dutch for street photo. So it makes sense that it's only street. So just as a little caveat, because not everyone is Dutch speaking, of course.
No. So straatfoto is a street photo in Dutch. So that for me is like my relaxation. So if I'm having a bit of a bad day, or I'm just, it's something, like I've said before, it's something I have to do. I feel the need to document. So I do it because I love it. But also sometimes if I'm having a bit of a bad day, I grab my camera and I go out on the streets and see what I can get. It never feels like I have to. It feels I want to. But I also like to do things like portraits out on the street, and that's not like asking someone, can I take your photo, but I go out with people. I will keep it a little bit vague at the moment, but that's something I like doing as well, but not studio work, because I think what I've learned in these in the last few years, I actually quite like being challenged. I like a challenge. Two things that are going to make me do something is saying I can't do it and challenging me, because I mean I can't. I mean, even I found this quite nerving as well. Actually, I was really quite nervous about doing this, but anyway, I'm doing it. I try. Okay, I try. I don't know.
You're doing great. Yeah.
But so I like being challenged. So say I'm arranged to meet with someone and go out with them, and then I take their photo. I don't know what weather I'm going to get that day, and believe me, and I travel across the country, and I can get really. I was going to swear again. Bad weather.
You can, yeah.
And then I have to adapt to that. When you're in a studio, you can obviously set everything up, and then you get your model in and you take the photos. I think I actually would find that quite difficult, because I quite like the challenging bit. So what am I going to do with the light? And I'm a quick thinker, so I will, I'll adapt and I'll try but that's what makes my photos being challenged. So like when I was saying about getting closer to people, and that took about 6 months of practicing, it was really challenging for me. And it still is, by the way. I still have to get geared up every time I go out. It's not something that comes up naturally to me. So, but I like it. It's the rush. It's what feeds me, and makes me want more, rather than, I need that, because otherwise I don't get bored out on the streets, because I'm always challenged. We're going into the winter, mate. We're going in there. So you're going to get winter coats. You're going to get cold weather. You're going to get lots of umbrellas. Rain. Lots of umbrellas, rain. I mean, I've been out in -4. And it's been absolutely amazing light, but you can't feel your freaking fingers, and you kind of protect, having to warm your camera up, and then. Which
reminds me that I need to buy a new glass. Yeah.
I've got a good tip for you, because I've got like mittens but so I've been in 40 degrees and -4, so I've done both extremes. But it's challenging, and we're going into the grey months, and that's like, for black and white, disastrous. I've actually brought a flash. Not that I'm going to flash people, by the way, but for my portrait stuff, because otherwise it's just hopeless. I don't think I would dare go out in the street and actually literally flash someone. That sounds really dodgy, doesn't it?
There's people that do it. Yeah. It's a photography type of flashing we're talking about.
Oh, God.
But yeah, it's like some people do that, and I find it so like, not only are you sticking your camera in someone's face, which is already spectacular, but yeah, Iris is cry laughing.
I'm so sorry.
That's fine. It's fine. It's
okay. I'm being an adult again. Sorry. I'm sorry about that.
But it's like, yeah, I could never use a flash, I think, as well. But yeah, you never know, of course.
We've got to compose ourselves. Get back to the podcast.
Back, yeah.
Which I nearly ruined.
No, that's fine. I think it makes for a funny accent. So yeah, the grey months, yeah. Well, we'll have to deal with it, but
we will. Hopefully, we will get some sun as well, and the days are shorter then as well. You've got all the challenges.
But the thing is, like, for me, it's like it gives new opportunities. For example, because the days are shorter, like usually, like in summer rush hour when people get out, it's like very sunny still. It's like 5-6 o'clock. It's very sunny still in like July and August. Well, for example, like November, December, January, like it's already completely dark when people go outside. And of course, that's very sad because we need the sun. But it gives for like different opportunities. Like you have these massive crowds in this how you call it, artificial lighting. So it's like completely. So it gives different opportunities, of course.
And your photos change. That's quite nice. It's quite nice to see the seasonal change. That's what I quite like also about having an Instagram or something like that, or some kind of way of saving them properly. That you've got this kind of seasonal change.
Do you notice that?
Yeah, in my photos, I do. Yeah, definitely. Because I think you said right at the beginning as well, I take a lot of photos of girls because I think women, I'm gonna say this, I think as a woman photographer, I could probably get closer to women more than men. It doesn't get so
Perhaps, yeah.
creepy or weird, or do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think I'm a little bit more approachable. And when the girls are out in the summer, and I think with their sunglasses and the hair, light on their hair and so. I mean, I think that's gorgeous. I love long hair because I've got such bad hair. But I love this kind of the summer and the way people dress, and in the winter it's more kind of lots more layers and coats and stuff, and you're less likely to see like the faces and stuff if people are kind of huddled up and cold and wearing big winter coats. So but I think you can also see it in my photography. Yeah, definitely I think there's I mean, when the sun's out, everyone's kind of much more in a good mood, and we are affected by weather as people. So there's definitely, I definitely see a difference in my photos.
Do you also notice like a difference in how frequently you go out, or?
Yeah. I well, this time last year I was actually shooting for my exhibition, so I did have to go out a lot. But yes, definitely, because one thing I will say is I do not go out in the rain. I do not go
Never.
out in
Okay.
the rain. Never.
In the Netherlands, so do you go out at all, or no?
There are days when there aren't rain. England would be worse, wouldn't it? Or Scotland. No, but less. So that probably means, to answer your question, I probably go out less if it's. I just think rain is such a hassle. You gotta protect your camera. I know that there are camera protectors. All my friends go, yeah, but you can get camera protectors.
Yeah,
But it's just a hassle. And also, I sometimes do. Or if I'm out and it starts raining, I won't dash off home or something. I
no,
will
of course,
stay
yeah.
out. Or if I've gone to another, say I've made an arrangement and gone to another city and stuff, and you've just got to deal with it then, haven't you? I mean, I was saying that to, Thilo or anyone that comes down here. Yeah, sorry, we've got to what the weather we've got. And I've got locations. I've got more locations now I can kind of go in. But I don't like going out in the rain. I don't.
No,
I wear glasses, and you just don't see a freaking thing after a while. You
that's
don't.
true. I forgot. Yeah, I used to wear glasses as well. Now I wear contact lenses, but I forgot about
No, I wear big glasses, and you just don't see a freaking thing. It's just rain and miserable, and I get moody, and then I don't get any photos. So
yeah,
I'm a bit of a. But I'm not. I will go out in the cold. It's nothing too cold. It's just wet and annoying.
Makes sense. Yeah. On topic of that, you should like be protective of your camera. I'm not like.
Oh, really?
I might maybe I should like in we had a very wet June here, July or June, yeah, both.
June, yeah. Was here as well.
And I had an event outdoors all the time, but it was like pouring rain, like it was in the field intense. Which was sad because it was to promote South America, which is a sunny place. But yeah.
Oh no!
But like the day after, I noticed my lenses and my camera fogging up constantly. So, but I fixed it. Like I let it air out. But yeah, it's best not to get them too wet.
No, I don't think they like that. I don't think like that.
They should be. They're more or less weather sealed, but they're still anyway. But yeah. So and is it? But so back on the topic of women being your main subject, because it's not only because you can perhaps approach them more that it's that they're more in your they catch your eye more. Is there something else that you're like?
Yeah, maybe I just swear like there's something about them. I think something about them like we're some different species. But there I don't know. I do take photos of guys as well, but I think women are I don't know. I don't know actually. That's a really odd thing. I just don't know why just catches my eye more maybe.
Okay,
and sure. I think it might be just as simple as that. And also I work in fashion. I work with women, and women, they can be quite hard on themselves, can't they? We're a bit hard on ourselves, and I think that Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know. To be honest, that's
Yeah,
one thing I don't know. I just notice that I do. You know, when I look back at my photos and I think, oh, actually, I've got a lot more photos of women than I do of men. I don't know
yeah.
why.
But I mean, not knowing why you do something is a good enough answer from to me at least.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's instinctive. It's that
yeah,
instinctive, basically. That's all I mean, it's that instinctive. I just don't know. There's a lot of answers I don't know, questions I don't know the answers to, but
yeah,
that's one of them. But I do notice that when I look back at my feed or look back at my photos, I think, God, there's loads of women,
yeah.
loads more than men.
I mean, yeah, it's not that because you have like I see the photo of the guy jumping in the water here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's yeah. So it's not exclusively for sure, but it's definitely is
No, no.
find a firefighters. Um,
A bunch of fire. We were like, oh,
yeah,
fire. I couldn't not take that photo. It was one of those scenes I walked into and just thought, I can't not take this photo. And they all turned round afterwards and they laughed. And they thought, did you just take the photo? I was like, yeah.
oh, they did notice. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they did afterwards, but they thought it was really funny. So but I
That's good.
couldn't not
But
take
most
that photo.
people, yeah, that's the funny thing. Like most people don't like rarely get aggressive. Apparently, yeah.
Oh no, not at all. I mean, I've had really good experiences out there, and people have asked me if I could take their photo, or if they post, or they got a little
Ah,
thumbs up.
yeah.
If they've seen me, they put their thumbs up. Or I mean, I've had two very bad experiences on markets where I literally got threatened and shouted at, and it was very aggressive and quite scary, to be honest. And they actually thought I was from the tax office. So
Oh,
that says a lot, doesn't it?
that's yeah.
Basically. And
So
I was
just like
like,
a fruit market, you mean? It's just
yeah.
like yeah, okay.
And I got shouted at and told that I wasn't allowed to take photos there, and that I was from the tax office, and that this wasn't allowed. And I was like, well, if I'm from the tax office, I wouldn't be using, and it was with my Canon as well, with like a big lens. I was like,
Yeah.
I would be doing it a little bit more secretly if I was doing it. But
But also, why would you shout at the person checking your like
photo.
that would only no, but I mean like if they think you're from the tax office and that they have something to hide, shouting at you would be the worst possible
Thing to do.
strategy to
Yeah,
yeah. But
yeah.
anyway,
But let's not go into how humans can be slightly. No, let's not do that.
yeah. No, yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't nice. I didn't go on markets for a long time actually.
Oh,
I was
okay.
actually quite yeah, I've so think yeah, well I also years and years and years and years and years ago I got mugged as well. So from my telephone, not my camera. So I'm always quite aware that these things can happen. You know, it's not but also it's what part of my character is like, well, look, you're not going to stop me from going out on the streets. You know,
No,
for
yeah.
a little while I was a bit scared to go outside after that happened, and now it's like, well, no one's stopping me. You know, that's another thing about don't tell me what to do and don't tell me what I can and can't do. I really
Yeah.
don't like that. And I don't mean that kind of like I'm getting all, that is part of my character, which helps me, which it makes me, it improves my photography, it improves anything I got, anything I'm passionate about, I will get better because I'm determined. I'm a bit of a fighter.
Something in me wants to challenge you to rainy photos, but yeah, I'm not.
You wouldn't
I'll,
be the first.
I won't give you the actual challenge.
Oh no, I gotta get this now on. I gotta get everyone who's spent 3 years persuading me that I should
You'll get
the
the person from 2044 mailing you to make rainy photos. Yeah,
I hope that happens. That'd be so good.
that would be so funny. Yeah. So maybe a slightly well, it's not very different, but it's slightly different. Do you notice a way in like first of all maybe a difference in your photography if you go to like well let's not say to Amsterdam because that's as you said not as far. Antwerp isn't as far as well, but it's a different country, slightly different culture. So do you notice anything different in how you go about your photography if you go to a different city or even I'm not sure if you go even abroad more or do you notice more in people something different or
Yeah. Yes, I do. There's a definite difference between my photos in Rotterdam and Amsterdam, I think. In Amsterdam, everyone's so used to people having cameras and or taking with selfie sticks and TikToks and all the stuff, you know, that there you can literally get really, really close and no one notices at all. Like we were talking about earlier about everyone's just doing their own thing, and they don't really give a whatever about what you're doing. But I definitely, when I'm in Antwerp as well, it is different. It's a different atmosphere. I mean, I really love it there as well because it is completely different. I think the Belgian and the Dutch people are actually very different.
There's a big difference, yeah.
There is a big difference, yeah. And I actually think that the Belgium, especially, I mean, I only know Antwerp, by the way, but so the people in Antwerp are more similar to maybe the English. It's slightly more reserved and slightly more, you know, the Dutch are kind of, yeah, they're just very different.
We notice the Dutch in our city very much, yeah.
Yeah.
That says something about us as well.
Yeah, they are, but they're also, you probably notice drunken English people in your city as well, unfortunately, because they're not the British.
Not as much. It's mostly Dutch.
They go to Spain and Amsterdam and do disastrous
True,
things. But no, yeah, I do. I think I take different photos. Also, being in a different city, for some reason, I kind of dare to do more in a different city than I do in my own hometown, which is really odd. That's really odd, actually.
Is it because you like the chance of someone, encountering that someone you know, or?
Yeah, maybe. I it might be. It might be. And also, I just think, yeah, I feel a bit more anonymous in another city. Not like when I'm walking around, I'm anonymous in Rotterdam as well. I mean, I do sort of bump into people I know and stuff, obviously, but I don't know what that is. And especially if I'm with someone, say I was with you in Antwerp, I would probably be, you know, yeah, I think when you're with someone, it sort of gets easier as well, doesn't it? Because you're kind of both with you're not only just behind your lens, like I was saying before. So I'm just with that person and my lens, and I totally don't know what's going on in the rest of the world, and I'm just taking photos. And you know, I don't think I do dare to do the same amount. I do dare to do the same on my own or with someone. It's not like I get more confident when I'm with someone. Definitely not, but it's being oblivious to what's happening around. Because if you want to go out and take photos of people and you keep making eye contact and you keep making contact with those people, it's not going to work. You know, you've got to, I don't think it does anyway, but I've got to sort of detach myself from that kind of thing. So when I'm in a different city, I just feel a little bit more anonymous or something, which is really odd. I don't know why, because Rotterdam's big enough to be anonymous in, but I just feel more anonymous, I think. And also the atmosphere is completely different. I mean, those three in particular, Antwerp, Amsterdam and Rotterdam are you know, they're just different. They're different That's vibes.
Definitely true, yeah. But that's why I was curious, because like you mentioned being, it in a way it gives more confidence being in a different city. To me, it kind of works reverse, because it's like I compare it to like in Antwerp or in Brussels, the cities that I know, like I don't mind at all to like jaywalk, for example, like run through a red light, no issue at all. But like if I get to a different city or a different country, you don't know how accepted that is. And it's the same for photography as well. So for me, it's like I have to, like the first few hours or maybe even a day, if it's a longer trip, I need to like
land.
vibe or like read the room.
Read the room, land, get in. I mean, I get that, because when I go to Antwerp, especially when I hadn't been for a long time, and I went back there, I mean, I did spend the first half hour just thinking, where do I look? You know, where do I look? Because there's so many new people are new. I mean, you've got an absolutely stunning station. I mean, that is probably one of the most beautiful stations in Europe. Oh, my tummy just went funny. But yeah, I get what you mean. I do need to land and get into and the people are different, and I'm not sure about different rules in different countries. There are different rules in different countries, so I think
it's not necessarily rules, but also like culturally, like
culturally,
I think it was Simon. No, it was Victor. But you haven't listened to the episode yet because it's coming out this week. But he mentioned, like, for example, because I asked like asked the same question, and he was like, "Yeah, in India, people are almost begging for your photo, and in like I think Morocco, he said, it's like very much like don't do it too much."
No.
Think it. Yeah, I'm not sure if that was the exact, but it's like different countries have different. Even though it's allowed, perhaps it's still less accepted, maybe here and there.
Yeah, maybe they're more private as well. And they
Yeah,
don't
for
want
example,
to be.
or yeah.
Yeah, and I think I see that even in a city like Rotterdam that's got a lot of cultures. Yeah, you do see the difference in cultures, and I'm very respectful to that. I'm not going to disrespect anybody or any culture or any. If someone doesn't want their photo taken, then that is absolutely their right, and I think that should be respected. Because I mean, it has happened a few times that people have said, "Oh, I don't want my photo being taken." I'm like, fine, that's absolutely, I will totally respect that. I think that we should respect others. I don't particularly like my photo being taken. I really don't like it. No, I don't mind if I don't know. They're usually okay, but as soon as I know, I just look so awkward. Honestly, Fred, I look so awkward. I mean, I'm not photogenic, but I also do something really stupid with my face. And I just don't know why, but I don't like it. And so I'm really respectful to how others are. So especially, and also what you said, like cultures and stuff. So I would definitely, I get that. I see that here in Rotterdam as well. There are certain people, and you can see they don't want it, and then I don't do it. And I'm lucky enough that in the same instincts that I take photos, I can instinctively see that someone does not want to be seen, or certainly don't want their photo being taken. And I just won't do it, because I think I will definitely treat everyone how I want to be treated. And I do respect the fact that people don't want it. So I think that's important as well. So yeah, definitely. But like going to Morocco wouldn't really be a good idea for us then, would it? No one wants that.
I'm not sure.
Or just get the nice buildings and stuff for the people that do buildings and stuff. And
also, there's also I forgot the name. There's a website of a guy, but it seems to be older articles. But he actually went to a lot of cities for street photography, and he has like ratings. So like how photogenic is a city, how safe is a city, how okay are people with being photographed. So it's funny.
That's really cool. That's quite handy as well, isn't it?
I forgot the website, but I stumbled upon it by coincidence.
Cool.
But so like I'm gonna have a quick peek at my notes here, because I had a question, but I forgot about it.
Okay, doesn't matter. Before I start rambling.
So you mentioned being more of a hunter as well. Are you really like into the streets, or you mentioned being inspired by music, but do you like listen to music on your walks?
Yeah, definitely.
Really? Okay.
I have. It's kind of, unless I'm with someone, obviously that would be
obviously
really rude.
Yeah.
It would be really rude. Oh, by the way, hi. Yeah, but I'll just put my music on, so don't talk. Nice to meet you. Bye. Sorry, that was really random. I do definitely always. It just helps me, especially if I know I want to do something. Like I'll think, I want to go out today and I want to get really close. Do you know what I'm gonna do? And I've got certain music and I just put it on and I just think, right.
So you choose your music to
get my mood.
Yeah,
to get my mood, definitely. I've got a street playlist, which is or two in fact, but also I can just I'll choose music to get me into a certain, it can almost be like, oh god, this is going to sound so bad, a film or something like film.
No, but it totally makes sense.
So you kind of, you can, oh god, how embarrassing, because you kind of literally feel like you're in, this kind of almost getting into this film. I mean, look how important music is in cinema. Without it would be pretty soulless, I reckon. So that's the same way I'm using it. I'm using that music to kind of get into.
Is it film music that you listen to?
Not always. There are certain musicals like Hamilton, and they're quite upbeat. They're quite sort of almost quite dramatic, film-like music, and I do actually quite like film soundtracks. Because they're quite. But no, it can be anything. It can. I've got certain Davina Michel. She did a song called "Beat Me." I think she did that for the Grand Prix, and it's one of
Okay.
those songs, and it basically just revs you up, you know. So if I'm feeling slightly less, that I need a bit of support. I think that's the best way to say it. If I need a bit of support, music is my biggest support. You know, my dad once said to me, "If you can't find the words, find a song." And I've been living with that for a long time. So it's, you know, sometimes it just gives me that little bit of extra confidence. And then obviously, and also it's all part of that zoning out. So, but if I don't have the music and I'm with someone, I think then that person's replacing what music does to me. So that conversation I'm having also zones me out. So I'm staying in that conversation with the person and my camera. And I really, really, really enjoy that as well, by the way. I really do enjoy that kind of, you know, nerding out about photography.
but yeah, same. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this podcast, obviously.
I know.
But it's, for me, it's interesting because, you have a lot of people that don't like music. For me, it's like, it's 50-50. Sometimes I need it, sometimes I don't.
Okay.
But for me, it's very different because I don't like music that takes my attention so much. It's like, it's like I put it low enough so I still can hear everything, but it's like repetitive. Like usually it's like house music because that's more my genre. It's just like as you said, like a mood, but it's like a small layer on top of things. It's not like I don't want it to be too present. You know, it's like Hamilton or like a musical. Of course, I haven't seen it, so I'm not sure. But it's
I would use that more before I started, but it gets me more into a rhythm. I like getting into a rhythm. The music will get me into. I'll walk differently. I'll dancing along the streets. No, I'm not. Oh God, shut up.
You do? No. Because I know in the Netherlands a lot of people sing on their bikes.
Do they? Oh, that would be so painful to listen to if I did that.
Like I've noticed it several times, like in Amsterdam and Rotterdam as well. Like people on their bikes just singing along with the music.
Oh wow! I think that I'd get arrested if I did that. No, but I do. Obviously, when I'm walking, I do. I get into a better flow with music. I walk. You know, it's bum bum bum, and not that I listen to metal, heavy stuff. By the way, I couldn't do that. Anything that's going to kind of interfere with my brain, it has to have quite a good rhythm, but then that's personal, isn't it, what has a good rhythm, because someone else could do, like you say, house music or metal or something. But with me it's just I don't know, but that kind of movie type of dramatic music is more before I start, like if I'm on the train going into the center, I'm already getting into the kind of, I'm zoning into where I want to be, and then I get off the train, take my lens cap off, and I'm there. That's basically how it works. So that little short time between my house and actual city centre, that's when I can just write, okay, I've got to get in, and then I'm in, and then I go for it. And it's fantastic. You don't think of anything else. All your worries have gone, all your stresses have gone, all your everything. It's just I'm out there, not thinking of anything else.
I have a similar playlist, but I don't use it for my photo walks, but before my runs. It's like it's just called High.
It's the same thing, isn't it? Yeah.
So it's the same with it's like high energy music that just for like the 5 minutes when I walk to the place where I start my run, and then
you go for it.
A different playlist, but it's also a bit.
Well, it's like that. That's the best way to explain it then. Exactly what you're doing for your run. Only I don't run around the streets, but I do.
No. For me, it's just like a run. I don't bring my camera.
You get those really fast-moving photos.
It's like a long shutter speed. It's like
Should we make a new trend? Jogging while taking photos. That could be the new trend.
No, actually, I've seen it in a movie. It's it's a Jim Carrey movie with Zoe Deschanel. I forget the title. But they actually have like a running club that also takes photos at the same time. Is it like
Yes Man? Really? Because I thought I've invented something there. That's a shame. And then Jim Carrey.
I'm not sure. Yeah, it's gonna be Yes Man, I think.
There's me thinking I was about to invent something.
It's like, but it's not like a big thing. It's like a small thing. Now that you mentioned it, I remember it. But also because you said something about like you have your playlist, you take a tram to the city center. do you do you come out of the tram and just go anywhere, or do you like find your specific spot and then see where you're going, or do you have like a certain route planned out, or how do you?
No, I don't plan anything. So I get out of the station. It's just I don't know where I walk.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
not planned. It's not
Just
planned
it
at
seems
all.
interesting there. I go there.
Yeah.
It seems
I
interesting
mean,
there. I go there. Yeah.
yeah, there will be. So it depends what stop I go out in Rotterdam. Obviously, when I'm in Amsterdam, I always get out in Central Station, and I do actually like meeting up with people from Amsterdam because then I go to different places. If I'm on my own, I mean, my sense of direction is terrible. I mean,
Yeah, but you
really
also
is.
stay to the places you know
Yeah,
most.
yeah, and then you're kind of doing these circles around the same areas, which
Yeah.
isn't bad. There's always something new happening. But as soon as you go, recently I was out with someone and he took me from the Zuidas, which is south, and right into the city centre, and I got to see so many streets I hadn't seen, and also got noted some new places that I want to go to on my own. I mean, I haven't been up since being out there with him, but so I'm definitely going to go to that area. But there is something quite relaxing about going to somewhere you know, because at least you're kind of like, oh, I know these streets, but you know you're going to get different things every time. And that's with Amsterdam. Definitely, if I'm on my own, I do generally go in the same direction. I know we've got Google Maps and stuff, but it's still, I just don't want to kind of get lost, and I could easily get lost. I mean, I have. I'm terrible. I'm also like this. If I drive somewhere, I can't just drive one go and then know where I'm going. I don't know. I just, that part of my brain just doesn't work. So I just randomly go anywhere, and then and just see where it takes me. I do not plan, because that's then you just let life happen in front of your lens. Just let it happen and see what you can catch. Basically.
True. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Exploring cities is more like. Like it works better for you if there's someone there for new places, or do you also like sometimes just say like, okay, I'm gonna try this spot I saw in someone's photos, or?
No, I don't do that, because that Thilo is doing. I don't do that. No, maybe I should, because I think that's someone else's photo. Yeah, I mean, I've said it before. If I came to Antwerp, I'd love to go with you because you live there.
Yeah.
You would definitely take me to places I wouldn't go to myself. I think when we know a city really well, you're going to go to different places than someone like as a tourist. It's the same with London.
Maybe,
I mean, when I go to London, I go and see my friends in London, and I don't go to the sort of the bits where you go as a tourist. I go to other bits. So, I mean, London is so huge that it's like, but anyway, so yeah, no, I really like getting to know a city, and I like seeing a city through someone who lives there. So that's definitely definitely a different. I prefer it because you can kind of just follow that person. But the other way around, like when someone comes to Rotterdam to meet up with me, I do feel more like a host, and not because I have to be, but just because I want to show them the city, and I want to show them what's. Also, I try and look at what they like in photography. So whether you're into architecture or in people or whatever, you know, I try and take them to places that are going to be nice for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's, you know, you've made the effort to come down to the city, so I want to take you somewhere that you would enjoy. But so I mean, it is lovely meeting up with people that live in that city. I would definitely try and do that. I mean, especially when I come to Antwerp again, because I've been there a few times as tourists, obviously. But you know, I mean, I'm always going to be a tourist, but you know.
No, but let me know. Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
let me know.
I mean, I would really want to see what Antwerp looks like through your eyes. So because it does, it's different. It's different. That's cool.
But it's also true, as you said, like if, for example, like, well, now with Thilo, I brought him to the hotspots, and the good thing about Antwerp is it's not that huge. So it's like, it was like, I think in 6 hours we were done, and we saw pretty much all the main places. But it was funny, because for me it was like, we went into this museum. It's the Mass Museum. So it's like this big monolithic structure, and to me it's like it's a brick box. It's basically to me. And I was like, oh, we can go up the building. There's like a panoramic view of Antwerp, and it's like it's a touristic highlight. It's fun, but I was like, he's not going to be mind blown by it. It's not going to be for his pictures. But actually, like the I think I mentioned it before, like the photo he made of the person with the sky in front of it that he showed. Like he made it there, and I was like amazed by the location, because it was like it's fairly abstract. So it's funny because to me it was like just a stop, and if he had, I was like, you want to go upstairs, thinking he would say no, but it was like it's like these different locations. Everyone has their spots.
That they like.
Yeah, and to me,
Yeah.
like sometimes
Yeah.
I have to be aware. For example, in Brussels, I have like one spot that I know that I should skip on the coming trips, because I go there every time. It's like
Yeah.
it's like an abstract gallery right next to the central station, so it's like an easy first place to go. But I know by now that's like I've done it too much.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So you've got to go and do something else. Yeah,
yeah,
I get that. There are places I've gone to too many times now, and I'm just gonna, because there are only so many hours in a day, aren't there? So we've got
as
to make
well,
sure.
yeah. But of course, yeah, for me, I like more scene in my photos. Like I'm somewhere between you and Thilo in that regards, maybe. But for you, it's like you're so people focused that you could be like in one street for an entire year, perhaps, I think, and still make
The
new photos every
photos.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I do like my little scenes, I think I posted one today. So I do like my little scenes of a certain shop or a certain,
Yeah, with the
little table and with
coffee,
the coffee and whatever.
the poffertjes, yeah.
But yeah, there are a lot of photos they could be taken. But yet again, it's so funny. If I was to be on the outskirts of somewhere and I don't think I would get the photo. It is the full package. It's where I am, how I'm feeling, what music I'm listening to, and that makes the photo. It's really weird because I don't get inspired by, if we went on a walk on the beach, in theory, you could say, oh, you'd take photos of me on the beach. I just probably wouldn't take very good photos because I just wouldn't be as inspired by my surroundings. So the surroundings do inspire me. It's just they're not always very visible on the photo, but they
No,
do.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So but it's true. I mean, I think a lot of you won't necessarily. I mean, some of them, Amsterdam, the buildings in the background, I guess, and but Rotterdam especially. Not that could be anywhere. That could be anywhere. I think I would make more of an effort if I was, like, say, in London again, or when I get back to London. I would like to see a bit. I said to Thilo as well yesterday, and I say it to more people: try and get something a bit Rotterdam-y, so that at least you can see you've been in Rotterdam.
Yeah,
And that's what I had with Antwerp as well. I thought I've got to get something quite Antwerp. But yeah, all my other photos in Antwerp. Oh no, the ones in the book were very Antwerpy, but I had a lot of photos that could have been taken anywhere. But but the people are different in Antwerp, I think.
Yeah, true. But it's yeah, for me. But that's funny because for me, how should I put it? Like for me, it's kind of important if I'm photographing a person that it's more or less recognizable. Like if you don't know the place, of course you won't recognize it. But like to me, like for example, as an Antwerpian, or how do you call it in English, like I enjoy photos of like, oh, it's a great photo, and I know exactly where it is. I also have like a very, very great sense of direction, and like I recognize scenes, even like there was an abstract photo I saw recently, and I was like, it's weird that I know exactly where this is because I shouldn't be able to. But like,
that's cool.
and to me, it's like I kind of like that sometimes, like where you
I
can
like
still
that,
recognize it without it being too, like, it's not dominating. It's not
it's
like,
not obvious.
oh
It's
yeah,
not
it's
obvious.
like that's the museum, but there's a person there, so like, but it's mostly about the museum and I just have the person there. For me, it's like I want a person there, but I also want to give like the context of where it is. And usually that's with a landmark, of course.
interesting. I
For
like
example, you have like the photo of the two people or three people, I'm not sure, two people with a bike passing by the Boerentoren in Antwerp, with like, it's like the picture of the Boerentoren on the Boerentoren.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I'll mention it in the show notes, obviously. But it's like, for me, for example, that works because that gives the context of where it is without it being too in your face.
And like the little boys in the station, that you'd know that, wouldn't you, with that big silver hand? Actually, I think well, apart from the older, the other black and white one, but the one with the little boys, you'd know.
Let me check if I can
That was
find
a
it, but
station photo. with the little orange coats on. I think people don't recognise it's my photo because it's colour.
Oh, it's not on Instagram. Yeah, okay. No,
No,
yeah,
it's not. No, it's in the book. Sorry.
I know exactly which one in the book you mean now. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think when I went to Antwerp, I did want to get at. Yeah, but I like the way what you said there. I think that's quite interesting to know. Yeah, that it's got the context. I quite like that. I haven't thought
Of
about
course,
that.
it's different for everyone because for Thilo, it's
Yeah,
like if you look at these photos, it's all building and fewer people, and it's well, for example, a photo in a mass museum. I'm not sure if I'd recognize it actually,
no.
but it's like that's his skill again. Like
Yeah, he's
he
so
can make it
good.
abstract, but for you, like with your photos, it's fun because it's like it's very up close, and it doesn't really matter where it is. But to me, it's like different, and that's the fun in all these genres, and the fun in
Yeah,
speaking to
yeah.
you because
And
it's
yet,
also
where I am influences my photo. So it's really funny, isn't it?
yeah,
I don't show much of it, but it does influence it. That's really odd. I mean, I'm very
well,
much,
yeah.
how I feel is where I am, I think. But definitely
But I
cool.
like that a lot, and for me as well. Like it's fun to talk to other photographers because like I can see your photos and I can like enjoy them visually, and to some sense I can enjoy the story behind it. But often it's like by talking to you, that's like, okay, this is what's actually going on.
Yeah,
It's like
this is
it gives an extra depth
it's cool, isn't it? That's why
sometimes.
I've been really enjoying listening to the podcast
Yeah.
and talking to people on the streets, by the way, not just this, but yeah, it's cool. It adds depth to the photos.
Yeah.
If you know the artist, well, not know them, not that I'd say, but if you get what goes through someone's mind while they're creating this,
Get the
it's
context. Yeah.
not just going out and randomly taking photos of passers-by. It's not that. There is so much more to this than that. In my story, there is. I can't talk for everyone, but in my story, there is so much more. Not only the want to document, almost feel the need to document, not only that I just really really enjoy it. It's personal. It's a way that it's something that makes me very happy. It's it can change my mood from a bad mood to a good mood. I mean, even now talking to you, I'm like, oh, should we go and get our cameras and go out?
That's funny because that's really recognizable to me. Like
yeah. Just I want to go out now because the sun's out and we should be out, shouldn't we? Yeah, it really, and that's so, I love it when that happens because that's so important. It's like I love listening to people or podcasts or things when I think, oh yeah, that makes me want to go out and do it rather than I'm being told what to do. I think that's a big difference as well in these conversations. I don't want to tell anyone what they should or should not do and how they should and should not think. It's just go and do your thing.
Find your way. Yeah.
Not everyone's going to like your photos. That's just impossible. And it doesn't matter if you're doing it, it's great. And all I can say is that with me, it's a lot more personal than people think. It's a lot more, and there's a lot more to it. And it's got very little to do with other photographers. I mean, obviously there are photographers I love, absolutely love. I mean, in fact, not a street photographer, but Anton Corbijn is one of my heroes.
Yeah.
I
was actually thinking about it when you said Dutch photographer, black and white.
Yeah. His photos make my heart beat a little bit faster, and that's got nothing to do with street. But it's a lot of other things that inspire me, and it's the need to also realize that there are some really good, decent people out in the world. Because when we watch the media and we watch the news and we watch all the horrific stuff that's going on, it's just so nice to think, oh God, humans can be really nice as well.
But to me as well, like you mentioned Antwerp and I have this book, it's called Instanton, I think it's called. And it's like a book of his snapshots. So like it's all made by phone, I think. It's like all smartphone photos of him. But it's like, that's for me, like it's not necessarily with the podcast as well, but to me that's important because it's like Anton Corbijn is like famous. Like, I mean, he photographed everyone from Joy Division in the 80s, I think, to even today, like big rock stars. So he's like a massive photographer, and we all, or I mean, in the Netherlands and in Belgium, we all know his work, at least abroad as well. But we all always see like his top photos, like the photo from Dick Cave has a famous portrait by him.
Yeah.
for example, but we never see like every top artist still has its misses, and that's like, I mean, you make crap, like we all make crappy
Definitely.
photos.
Oh God, we make so many crap photos.
Like like this week I came back with a
Too
memory
many.
card of like from one wet day with like 1,000 photos. 30 were good. So that means I made 970 crappy photos that no one will ever see and no one will ever know about. But to me, like his book, like Instanton, it's like just an honest book. Like it's just snapshots. It's sometimes a bit weird because there's like one photos of his girlfriend's panties, I think. Like sometimes it's a bit weird. But to me, it shows like even this super great artist makes
Shit
crap.
photos.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
shitty photos, crappy photos, mediocre photos even. But
Yeah,
he
of
still,
course.
but he still publishes them because to him they have meaning. So that to me is like you don't have to make like a
That's really cool. That I like
yeah
that. I like that. That is really cool. Because yeah, of course, everyone takes. I mean, that's you. I mean, you said that. I think my ratio would probably be every 250 photos. There are 2 good photos.
I mean yeah everyone has
I
their
mean, there are
ratios
going
of
to be
course yeah
more that people are going to probably because I've sometimes shown other photos that I thought were more, and people have gone, God, they're really good, and I'm like, oh, I thought they were a bit more, but the ones I love, they're probably really back to but but they don't see. I think the big difference is you can take 950 really bad photos, but just keep going out and keep doing it, and that's
yeah
when it gets difficult. That's that keep going. A lot of people are just like, oh, I've gone through stages where I've just literally go, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. I've just lost the ability to take photos. I can't do it. I don't know why I thought
yeah
that, but I just went through a complete meltdown last year. Actually, that was when I was doing my
it was like an
exhibition.
extended period, you mean? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was just like, oh God, what am I doing?
Hmm.
What am I doing? Why do I do this? Why do I like this? I don't like this. And actually, no, that wasn't true. It was just you just get stuck sometimes
Hmm.
because of outside influences as well. I think people
Yeah.
kind of sort of say, oh, you should do this or you should do that. And I'm like, at the end of the day, I've learned that listening to myself, I do going with the flow very well. I mean, I do that as a pro. And if I start trying to swim upstream, then I get a bit like, oh, help,
No,
So
true, yeah.
it's I go with my flow and it takes the time it does. And yeah, that works the best for me. That's just I shouldn't try. I mean, I try at everything. Like I'm trying at this. I go out and try new things, but from with in my flow kind of thing, rather than copying other photographers or trying to be like someone else.
Yeah.
That just does not work for me. I just want to. It's better to just do what instinctively feels really good, and that works best. And yes, I do take plenty of really bad photos, and yes,
No,
I can sometimes think this is a really bad photo and someone else doesn't think that. Actually,
yeah.
one of the book photos, I just thought, wow, isn't that good? And
Oh,
yeah,
really?
everyone was like, oh my God. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? But it's
Yeah.
just, I'm like, I might not say which one on the podcast, but
No, that's fine. Yeah.
it's one of those, it's just weird. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
And have you ever had like, I've asked this question before, I think, but well, not to you, but like had a photo that you either loved, but because the reaction to it was kind of like, how do you say "low" in English?
No,
Like
low. There wasn't a good reaction.
people
Oh
weren't
no.
really enthusiastic about it, or the other way around, of course, that you had like photo you were like, and then someone or someone's said like, "That's a great photo." And did you ever
No,
get a change of opinion because of
no.
people?
If I love a photo, I will always love it. And I mean that happened at my exhibition. That happens in my Instagram. There are photos and I'm like, oh look, it's really great. It's really great. Look at that, isn't it amazing? And everyone's like, yeah, all right. And I'm like, no, it's great. It's great. And no, not that great. But I still love it.
Yeah.
I'm not good. That doesn't change my mind. The other way around just makes me laugh. It makes me laugh. I just think, huh? What this is getting so many reactions. People are really liking this photo, and I think that has all got to do with being how it was made. So something could be really, really easy for me, And I'm thinking, well, that was really easy, you know, and not forgetting that if it's difficult, then it's going to be even more of a success. If you're challenged and you did it, you know, so then it's just a bonus. You know, there are photos in my Insta. I mean, I won't show you now, but they were really freaking difficult to get, and I got them. And the photo might not be fantastic, but they were really freaking difficult to get.
Yeah.
They weren't easy, and I got them. So yeah, that little feeling, you know, that's very personal. No one else is going to see that or feel that. But yeah, no. So but definitely no. If I love a photo, I love a photo, and I sometimes I can't explain it, but I love it. And that no one's going to change my mind. Then I'll just hang it on my own wall.
Well, it's not that I had it that it's not that I would be like, okay, this photo is amazing after all, but it's like, okay, maybe I appreciate this photo more for what it is than for what I made from it. Yeah.
And you should never, especially not on Instagram,
No.
Everyone listening, please do not be disappointed by likes and all that shizzle. Please don't base your worth on that. Please do not.
Yeah.
Please don't.
It's very random.
Gather yourself a good group of friends and a good people but please do not do that, because that could be quite soul crushing if you did that. To be honest, that's a bit of advice.
Yeah, speaking of Instagram, we're gonna be wrapping up here.
Yes.
So maybe where can they find you on Instagram or on other places?
Well, I haven't got a website. It's on a things to do list. I have my Instagram is Iris.straatfoto, and that's basically where you can find my street work and bits and bobs about me. And my photography journey, because it's a bit of a sort of document for my journey, basically, especially on the stories. And that's it. I will be getting a website, I promise, but I'm too busy out on the streets taking photos.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so great. Thank you for this conversation. And
thank you for having me. I really feel honoured. Because I really love your podcasts, honestly.
That's great to hear.
So I'm very honoured to be on it. And the first girl, we're going to find some more girls out there, because there are girls out there.
I have two in mind. Yeah,
really good.
But
some really amazing photographers out there, women and men also. But obviously, I think a lot of women are more. Beautiful photos. So definitely get them in.
But it's funny because like most men, if I ask, it's like they either answer no or it's like, yeah, sure, we'll do that. And like with women, like for example, with you, it's like more like, I'm gonna think about it. Like it's so
we've got a lot of gray areas.
Yeah. But it's but anyway, let's wrap it up here. Thank you for being in the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah.